طيب إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه ومن سار على سبيله إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. So continuing where we left off regarding Bulugh al-Maram, we started to discuss الآنية من ذهب والفضة. ما حكم اتخاذ الأواني من الذهب والفضة؟
قلت لنا مسموح مباح.
مسموح مباح؟
الأكل فيها، الأكل منها قلت لنا مباح يصير ناكل منها. لا 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 العكس. لا 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 ما يصير سوري ما يجوز سوري مخي
لا يجوز استعمال
لا
الآنية من الذهب والفضة.
قلت لنا يصير ناكل من الزمرد والمرجان.
اللؤلؤ والمرجان ويواقيت والأحجار الثمينة. No.
Could it also be because they used to be like form of currency?
لا يعني when it comes to the illa, if it's not mentioned والله أعلم. And if someone mentions a possible illa, هذا من باب اجتهاد. If there's no evidence for the illa, when we say the illa, the reason behind the ruling. No. All that we do know though is the Prophet mentioned لهم في الدنيا ولكم في الآخرة. It's for them in this dunya and for you in the hereafter. No.
If there's no illa, does that mean you can't do qiyas on it? Using that evidence, if there's no illa for it?
لا. Because qiyas is built upon evidence. So qiyas is going to be, for example, me taking something that has a similar ruling, and based on that, a similar illa, reason for the ruling, and then I give it the same ruling. But as for, because it doesn't say, for example, لأنها ثمينة الثمن, it doesn't say in the hadith because it's expensive. So that I apply it to something else that's expensive. No, because you have other forms of metals as well that are also expensive, like copper is expensive. However, the copper لا يدخل في التحريم.
شنو كوبر؟
الماس.
اوكي. احنا قلنا انت قلت لي انه كان موجود في ذاك الزمان ما استعمل ما قال عنه شيء النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم سكت عنه.
عفوا عادي. طيب, a correction. When it comes to vessels of gold and silver, the ruling is not based on using them to store, it's specific to eating and drinking. It's khas. And Shawkani rahimahullah, Shaykh Uthaymeen mentioned that you had some who say there was ijma' that is haram. However, هذا ليس بصحيح. This is not correct. من قال أن أجمع العلماء على تحريم استعمال نعم الأواني من ذهب الفضة حرام, هذا غير صحيح. والتحريم في الأكل والشراب.
هذا جواب الشيخ ابن عثيمين على الشيخ الشوكاني.
هو يذكر ماذا قال الشيخ الإمام شوكاني رحمه الله في نيل الأوطار. قال إن السنة تدل على أن المحرم هو الأكل والشرب فقط, والقياس ممنوع ولا يصح, وما ذهب إليه الشوكاني رحمه الله هو الذي تدل عليه الأدلة. That is what is يعني evident from the evidence. فالمحرم استعمالها في الأكل والشرب, وسيأتي في حديث ما يؤكد هذا. So the hadith that we have today, it mentions عن أم سلمة رضي الله عنها قالت قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الذي يشرب في إناء الفضة وإنما يجرجر في بطنه نار جهنم متفق عليه.
اروح اسكتهم.
نعم لكن باللطف.
عرفتني.
لا باللطف.
خفف لون عيني ما خليها حمراء.
نعم بس لطف. لا يعني لا يعرفهم.
انت ايه انت انا عافيه حبيبتي روحي شاطر.
Hadith 15.
You like, I'm dislike.
I went back to the hadith before that, but this hadith is 15 in review. 15 15. So it mentions from the hadith Salama, the one who drinks in a silver vessel, إنما يجرجر في بطنه نار جهنم. جرجر, it means يعني هي صوت الماء إذا سلك مسلكه. It's the sound of water when it goes down the stream. Now, the sound of water flowing, that is what it means. So it's like إنما يجرجر في بطنه, يعني running in his stomach is fire, the hellfire. Is hellfire. نعم.
استاذ الحين ياكل همبرجر بالذهب تدري؟
يعني ولكن هذا الله المستعان.
اي ياكل الذهب قشر الذهب.
أنا لا أفهم هذه القضية فعلا الله المستعان. The gold burger. See the gold, is that real gold? It's not.
There is food with gold here now they eat it.
What's that?
But is it actual gold though?
On cakes?
It's cheap.
There's something where they do like
Burger.
it's a, for some it's expensive.
Yeah, I think, well, I'm not sure, you know.
And it's meant to be a burger made out of gold. It's real gold.
Yeah.
إذا كان ذهب لا يجوز.
You can't eat real gold.
لا يجوز.
Foods.
They eat حبيبتي.
No, but there's it's supposed to be like it's like there's like a 24K gold leaf.
It's have a tablet that is made of put gold.
No, but this is it's real. It's not for jokes. I'm being serious.
Yeah, but no, I'm telling
It's
you
gold.
something.
It's gold, but that gold is yeah. It says 24K gold is completely edible.
Yeah, it's لا يجوز.
Can we put in our face as a mask? Because some claim with gold.
The hadith is specific to what? Eating and drinking.
Okay, yeah.
No.
Another question, sorry, Stad. Are you with people who use salt or oil mad from al-Bahr al-Mayyit for face or for skin or no?
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's some Dead Sea.
لا أدري.
يعني good for
And what are you
skin,
talking about?
the treatment.
لا أدري. ولكن على أي حال, drinking from silver and gold
It's haram.
حرام. وهذا في وعيد شديد. This is a severe caution. أن من شرب من إناء الفضة يجرجر في بطنه نار جهنم. Flowing in his stomach is the fire of the hellfire. It's fire of the hellfire.
Sorry, Stad. Salama, she listened to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said this hadith.
نعم.
What she said by herself.
She said يعني قالت قال رسول صلى الله عليه وسلم.
قال
نعم.
رسول الله.
From this hadith we learn أن الشرب من إناء الفضة من كبائر الذنوب. Drinking from gold, silver utensils is from major sins.
ينطبق هذا على المعالق والشوك.
ركزي معي بس يعني على
دائما
ما يذكر.
دائما
نعم.
أبعد.
Also, not only is drinking, the same applies to eating. Also, eating from silver utensils is a major sin. إذا حرم الشرب كذلك يحرم الأكل. If you find that drinking has been prohibited, also eating has also been prohibited. As also mentioned in the previous hadith, it mentions don't eat and don't drink. Don't eat and don't drink. As we know, al-ahkam la yu'khad min nassin wahid. The rulings are not based upon just one evidence. Also, we learned that it's permissible to use silver in other than eating and drinking, based upon what this hadith mentioned and the previous hadith also. For example, you have what is called al-jaljal. Al-jaljal is a small vessel container that's used to store like kuhl for the eyes. And it may be made out of silver at times. Any la ba's. As it's mentioned that Salama, the Anha, she used to have a small jaljal that had some hairs of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu. And when people were sick, they'll come to her, they'll send for her, and she'll put water in it and mix it and give them the water as a means of shifa. And يستشفى بأثرة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. هذا عند كان حياته وحتى بعد مماته. Just like, for example, لما كان في عين علي رضي الله عنه شيء مرض فبصق النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في عينه فشفي. When Ali ibn Abi Talib was sick, something was wrong with his eye, the Prophet spat in his eye and he was cured. Now, so they used to seek cure from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu, or you seek ilaj, not necessarily shifa, but ilaj, means of treatment by way of the hair or the saliva of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. As is mentioned in Bab al-Munasaba, that what she used to store it in a jaljal that was made out of silver, min fidda. So the prohibition was specific to what? Ashurb wal akal, eating and drinking. Now, the next hadith that I mentioned are also in relation to vessels, and we will come to mention the relationship between this. This is عن ابن عباس رضي عنهما قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم إذا دبغ الإهاب فقد طهر أخرجه مسلم وعند الأربعة أيما إهاب دبغ يعني فقد طهر. وعن سلمة ابن محبق رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم دباغ جلود الميتة طهورها صححه ابن حبان. وعن ميمونة رضي الله عنها قالت مر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بشاة يجرونها قال لو أخذتم إهابها فقالوا إنها ميتة فقال يطهرها الماء والقرض أخرجه أبو داود والنسائي. So this is talking about skins, hide of the animals, and what's mentioned is the hide is purified if it is tanned. If it is tanned, then it becomes pure. And in another narration mentions tanning the skins of the dead, the carcass, carrion meat, is the purification of it. Is the purification of it. And the hadith of Maymuna, the Prophet passed by a sheep that was being dragged along the ground, and he said, if you only took his hide, his skin, they said, but it is dead. It hasn't been slaughtered. قال يطهرها الماء والقرض. He mentioned it's purified with water, and qarad is what was used for tanning.
Okay.
It's what they used for tanning. And Shaykh Al-Taymiyyah mentioned this is ma'ruf in the dabbagh. Those who tan, they will know what this is. They will know what this substance is. So here he mentions, okay, the relationship between the skins and the chapter of utensils is what? Who knows?
The skin is sometimes used for storage.
Naam. Sometimes people store water and food in skins.
أنا ما فهمت السؤال.
يعني هبة يعني لماذا ذكر في باب الآنية؟
إيه لأن يحطونه في القربة في الماء.
يعني
إيه
يحفظ الماء فيه.
إيه والبعدين
نعم.
يحطونه يشربون به الماء.
So this is why it's mentioned in this chapter. Of the things that is discussed, based on the hadith, is general. Is it every single animal that this applies to or not? That's of the things that is discussed. As it says, أيما إهاب دبغ. أيما had the adat or shart in the Arabic language, and this is like for a conditional sentence. If what comes after is nakira, is indefinite, nakira فهو يفيد العموم. This benefits something being general. So they will say, based on this, the ruling is what? General. In the last hadith that we mentioned, it was talking about specifically what? A sheep. A sheep that was being dragged. So the thing that has been mentioned, the things that this applies to, the hides this applies to, is the animals that if they are slaughtered, they are halal. Now, إذا ذبح يعني بالذكاة, if they are بالذكاة يحلل, that with slaughtering they become halal.
Do مخلب without مخلب نفس الشيء.
Just what is halal? That which is eaten. لا يحتاج تفصيل.
اللي يتاكل.
نعم.
Okay.
So if it's not from that which is eaten, يعني if it's slaughtered, لا يدخل في هذا. For example, someone can't say I use the dog skin
Snake.
and the likes, that which is not allowed to be eaten. إذا كان مما يؤكل إذا ذبح فلا بأس. And why they say this, because basically the carcass meat, carrion meat, is impure. It's not tahir. When it's dead, it's impure. It's only pure when it's slaughtered. إذا ذبح. But again, tanning of the skin makes the skin pure. Is purified by way of tanning.
Okay, for اللي يتاكل ولا اللي ما يتاكل، يعني شاة ميتة أو أفعى.
لا كلنا يعني سهل، لا تفكر في هذا، يعني بس يعني إذا ذبح يؤكل فهو حلال إذا دبغ استعمال الإهاب الجلد.
يعني الحية يعني ما قال.
لا شوفي يعني نتكلم إذا كان ميتا، إذا كان ميتا كيف يطهر الجلد؟
إيه.
الجلد فقط بالدبغ، هذا هو.
يعني معناته أنا مسموح لي ألبس أكرمك الله حذاء من جلد الحية وشنطة من جلد
نعم
الإنسان.
لا بأس استعمال الجلد. استعمال الجلد مطلق، يعني إذا كان حلالا خلاص. الذي لا يؤكل إذا ذبح لا يجوز، لا يطهر ليس لا يجوز، لا يطهر.
الذي لا يؤكل
لا يطهر بالدباغ. It's not purified by tanning.
إذا لا يجوز أمسك.
لا اسمع كلام. يستعمل في أشياء يابسة. it can be used for dry stuff. But as for that which is moist, then only that which is pure can be used. Because that which is dry will not be affected by it. Will not be affected by it. فيقول أنه يجوز فيما كان يابسا, that which is dry. As for that which is moist, then la, you can only use the hide, the animal skin, that is purified, that is pure to be used. If it's not pure, then it's not allowed to be used except for that which is dry. Except for that which is dry.
يعني أبدأ أفهم أستاذ منك المذبوح حلالا أستعملها للأكل والشرب مثل ما اللي يتاكل، واللي ما يتاكل أستعمله جاكيت وشنطة وأي شيء ثاني.
لا، ليس أي شيء ثاني. في أشياء يابسة. في أشياء يابسة، يعني مثلا للنقود. For money, for example. Something like this.
والحذاء يجوز أكرمك الله.
يعني والله أعلم. والله أعلم. يعني لا يمكن يلبس المسلم ما لم يكن طاهرا.
لا بس احنا نشتري أحذية.
لكن لازم يكون طاهرا.
أكيد مطهرين، احنا ما نعرف.
لا تشتري يعني حذاء من كلب مثلا.
لا طبعا، بس
أي هذا ما أقصد.
طبيعي، بس أنا
لكن ليس يعني الأمر ليس بالجد طبيعي، ركزي على الأمر بالنوع الحيوان.
التمساح.
لا خلي هذا.
لا هاي يستخدم.
شوف، لا تفكري في أشياء أخرى. يعني ابقى معي. إذا كان شاة موجودة على الشارع ميتة لا يجوز أكل
طبعا،
ولكن استعمال الجلد
نعم.
هل يجوز؟ لا، حتى دبغ.
نعم.
خلاص هذا هو.
أوكي.
نعم. كلب موجود، يعني الشاة جلده نجس.
نعم.
حتى دبغ طهرة. أما الكلب لو دبغ أم لا يزال نجس. خلاص هذا هو. واضح؟
واضح.
نعم. So as we mentioned, that which is, for example, carrion is dead. If it's something that can be eaten, if it was slaughtered, but obviously it's not slaughtered, it's dead, it's najis, it's impure. As for the skin can be used now if it's purified by way of what? Tanning. If it's tanned, then it becomes pure. If it's not tanned, it's najis, it can't be used. And we said, for example, a dog is dead. If it was slaughtered, it will still not be halal. It's still haram. You can't eat it. As for the skin, it does not become pure by tanning. It does not become pure by tanning. So, for example, the first example, jald al-shat, the sheep, that's clear. If it is tanned, it can be used to store that which is dry, that which is moist, water, milk, anything. Second example, لو أن ذئبا قتل, a wolf, for example, has been killed and its skin has been taken and it has been tanned, it does not become pure. It's still najis. It's still impure. But he mentioned, because it has not, if it was slaughtered, it still does not become pure. So based on this, إذا دبغ جلد البحيمة التي لا تحل بالذكاة فإنه يبقى على نجاسته. If you tan the skin of an animal that is not halal if it is slaughtered, then it remains in a state of being impure. It is still impure. And he mentioned, لكن يستعمل في اليابس. it can be used for that which is dry, it has no moisture at all. لماذا؟ لأنه إذا استعمل في اليابس فإن نجاسته لا تتعدى. The impurity of that skin does not affect what?
The food.
The food or the dry food, whatever it is. Whatever is dry is not affected by the skin. Because you have najasa that, for example, it affects other things. Like urine. Urine, whatever it touches is affected now. But as for the dead animal skin that cannot be eaten if it was slaughtered, it's been tanned. That skin itself now, nothing comes off it. Even if it touched me, I don't have to wash my phobe. There's no trace of impurity now. So in that which is dry. But as for that which is wet now, if it was wet, then they say this is not permissible, because then now it would have an impact on that which is wet. As we know, for example, whatever water is stored in, the thing that is stored in has some form of impact in it. You know, there's different types of plastic. Say you avoid certain types of plastic to store liquids in because it reacts. Now, same with certain metals, they react. So in those situations, that which isn't dry will be impacted by the impurity. But as for that which is dry, la. So for example, if I had a wallet that was made out of wolf skin, I can use it to store money in it. For example, it's not going to affect the money. But as for wolf skin as a jacket, it's impure. You see, I can't pray in that. You see, because it's not pure, najis. It's najis.
كل المذاهب تقول هالكلام؟
لا اتركي هذا، لا ينفعك، يعني لا تحتاج إلى هذا. بس خذ ما أقول لك خلاص.
حط على راسي بس طعيم.
نعم. الكلام واضح، نجس خلاص. كيف يصلي في النجاسة؟ في شيء نجس؟ لا يمكن. لا يمكن. طهارة شرط من صحة الصلاة. طهارة. فكيف تصلي في شيء نجس؟
بس هذا أنا عارفه، ده أنا مو عارفه هو شنو.
لا نقول لا نتكلم في الثمن. قلنا لا، يعني جلد نجس. كيف؟ نجس، نجاسة، نجس. شرط الصلاة طهارة.
زين البوك اللي أنت مسكته الولد.
لا شوفي، لا تخرج عن الصورة. لا تخرج عن الصورة. الشيء نجس، هل يمكن تصلي في النجاسة؟
لا طبعا.
خلاص هذا هو.
زين الولد طلع من جيبك؟
نعم، أنا لا ما قلت أنني أمسك الولد، بس قلت يعني الاستعمال الوضع المال فيه. نعم.
Sorry, Stan. Can you go back to me when you said when you're storing like moist stuff? What did you mean by that? Like how?
Anything that's wet, moist.
So
You can't store it in that which is not pure.
can you give an example?
Water, cream, perfume, anything that is wet. No. Grapes, dates. For example, dates are a better example. You might store dates. Dates can't be in there because dates are moist. You see. But for example, rice. Rice is dry. Grains dry. Seeds dry. So they'll never be affected by the impurity of the skin. However, awla is still better not to use impure skins though. You see, but it's just if, for example, you did use it, it would be for something that is dry and not affected, any jaf, yabis, not affected by the impurity. of the things that, because what the argument I have to understand here, in the hadith is general, al-am, ما يلفظ في الملفوظ في الحديث عام. That which is mentioned in the hadith is general. أيما إهاب, any skin. However, when it's mentioned that the Prophet saw the dead sheep and them dragging it, he mentioned regarding the sheep. They say هذا يعني is khas now, it's specific. They make it specific that it's animals that can be eaten. Another example Shaykh Uthaymeen rahimahullah gives is, for example, someone was fasting. وهو مسافر, whilst traveling. And they found themselves in what? Great hardship. So they were seeking shade underneath a tree. And like people surrounded him because he was basically on the verge of collapsing. The Prophet said, "Ma hada?" قالوا صائم. They said, what is it? They said he's fasting. فقال ليس من البر الصيام في السفر. He says, not from righteousness to fast whilst you are traveling. هل نأخذ هذا الحديث? Do we take this hadith and say when you're traveling you shouldn't fast?
No.
He doesn't make it general, right?
No.
Because of the mashhad, the situation. If you are in difficulty, mashaqqa, because of siyam, you shouldn't fast when you're traveling. If it's going to bring about difficulty upon you, then no, you should break your fast. That's what we can understand from the hadith. Not that it means whenever you travel you should never fast. Because now, for example, traveling is much easier.
Yeah.
You might be on a plane 6 hours, you're comfortable, you can go to sleep. It doesn't really affect you, depending on where you're traveling to. So, but at the same time, a person that moving around and the likes, they might feel sick, they might have an impact on them. So for that person, they may be encouraged them to fast while traveling. So understanding, basically, this is also the importance of usul. Understanding when is something made specific and when is something maintained to be general. Because one hadith might make something seem general, but the context of the hadith has an impact. For example, لَيْسَ مِنَ الْبِرِّ الصِّيَامُ فِي السَّفَرِ. It's not from righteousness or piety to fast while traveling. That's not general. And for a person to take it general, then this is not correct. Because the person fasted while traveling. واضح? That's clear? طيب. So inshallah we'll stop here. Inshallah. And we'll continue next lesson bi'idhnillahi ta'ala with Bulugh al-Maram. But the main thing is understand the skins of animals that cannot be eaten if they were slaughtered, then they never become pure by tanning. But if it was a dead thing that had it been slaughtered, you're allowed to eat it. When you tan the skin becomes pure. هذا هو الشاهد. نعم. فلنكتفي بهذا المصلي وسلم على نبينا وحبيب محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. جزاكم الله خيرا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.